Earl Stockton ended up surpassing when we talked about last week, and the fact that we felt like Earl Stockton should very much be at least in the running for it. Not only was he in the running for it, he took it away from Cash. Let's make this move. Taylor Moton, you're headed to the Jets. We're bringing in some depth players and some picks, plus opening up a good chunk of cap space. So we get most of all the guys that we actually were going after. I think we missed out on one. I feel like that is a really good free agency for us. We brought in a lot of key players for the future, as well as some good guys for 1-2 year stopgap. How about that? Is that a deal done? It is. Here is our draft class, and we are going to have to scroll. So far, the highest overall I see is a 76. We did find a 71 late on. I was good on that selection, but let's start from the top. And as we get stuck in here today to start season 3, I'm bringing you in at the end of the preseason because we are still 3 players over our limit to begin the season. And it's 3 moves that are going to be veteran players that hopefully we're going to find some trades. We talked a good bit last episode about trading J.C. Horn, and that is where we're going to begin. And after thinking about it and looking at all of these offers, I just feel like they are giving too much. Jake Ferguson is a top 15 tight end in the league, despite only being 78 overall. And Jordan Davis is a really solid young defensive lineman that I do not think the Eagles would actually give up. And for J.C. Horn, he's a star dev, 85 years old at 25. But he hasn't done anything in 2 years in this series because last year he was awful. He really didn't do anything. And the year before that, which was our first season here, he was injured. He was out the whole year on IR. So he hasn't done anything for 2 years. And this just feels like too much for teams to give up. So the deal I've worked out instead is to send him to the Chargers. I feel like a lot of guys like to go to LA, and the Chargers, they do need some help at corner. Their top guy, Sante Samuel Jr., pretty good corner, but they don't really have that number 2. And their only quote-unquote younger guy is Jay Worthy at 75 at 24 years old, so really even not that young considering the progression or regression sliders we have. This could be a good spot for him to go. Would slot in for them as one of the top outside guys, plus they have all of their picks, but we're not going to be too greedy with what we want in return. We're going to take their 2, which is most likely going to be a mid to later 2, plus next year's 5th round pick. That just seems to me a little bit more realistic compared to what we've seen J.C. Horn do on the field. He might go and resurrect his career with the Chargers. That's what this trade is all about, and helping us in just collecting some picks and then trying to get younger later on. So we're going to trade J.C. Horn to the Chargers. But that's really the last big trade we're going to do today, though we still have a couple moves that we're going to make, and I believe the next is going to be Cam Akers. We gave him a decent bit of some opportunity last year, and he really just wasn't able to do much with that opportunity. 2.9 yards per carry. Just every time we handed the ball, he wasn't really breaking tackles. He had a couple runs here and there, but we know what Chuba Hubbard was able to do with the same type of blocking, and it was a whole lot better. And we even saw Ty Barlow, who is back, who we did not actually bring back last episode, but we did end up bringing him back after the draft. Barlow was able to do well. Plus, we also have Brian Barry now, so I think Cam Akers, it's time to find him a spot on some other team. And this is another one we're not going to be too picky on. We found a good spot with the Bengals. We're asking for one of their 2 6th-round picks. And right now, they just have Joe Mixon. And then Chase Brown, a 25-year-old. And then Kenny McIntosh, another 25-year-old. So Mixon would fit in pretty well here, I think, with the Bengals. They should take this. I don't imagine they would say no, and they won't. And lastly, we are going to say bye to Deion Jones. We have our 3 guys for sure now moving forward, all of which are going to be sophomores or rookie guys. So Deion Jones, he was great for us in that half season we had to open up, but he did not play well last year. He continues to regress as he's now 30 years old. Not the same guy, but he could definitely help out a team competing for a spot in the playoffs and for a Super Bowl. And once again, we found ourselves a perfect trade partner in the Bills. We're just going to be asking for a 4th round pick. Might be a little bit at the high end. However, we're trying to also leverage the fact that they really do not have that main guy going into the season. They have Terrell Bernard, but he's a 73 overall at 26 years old. So they need some help for sure, and Deion Jones could definitely step in there. Bills are always competing for a Super Bowl, so I feel like there should be another good trade here for us, and they would agree. And that's actually a pretty good transition point to some pretty bad injury news. And the first is we are missing 2 of our 3 middle linebackers for the future for at least this first game, as Britton Hartwell, going into the game during practice, did have a high ankle sprain. And during the preseason, Greg Hodgins suffered another major injury. I'm pretty sure the one he had last year was another like MCL tear or something along those lines. This one a partial MCL tear. He's missed the last 3 weeks. He's going to miss the next 3 weeks. So we'll get Hartwell back next time. We are also going to be missing Zach Lippett, one of our backup offensive linemen. As for our opponents in opening day, it's going to be the New York Jets. And they have some real good guys at the top of their team, but they're still not a fully built team. Zach Wilson is still QB1 here, and he is still a 75. They do, however, have Breece Hall, who looks like to be a really good running back for him, up to a 92. Plus, they have Kenneth Gainwell backing him up. As for their receivers, Garrett Wilson, really good number 1, going to go against our number 1 corner here in Newsome. They do have a really good young receiver, well-developing second-year Antoine Jenkins, an 80. Then Valdez Scantling, the older guy here, 76. Plus De'Ami Brown, a recent addition, who's still pretty low in the 70, 74. As for their tight end, Tyler Conklin, and a rookie in Devin Summers. Their trenches start with Dion Dawkins, someone we considered bringing in, but we ended up going in a different direction, but a pretty solid left tackle. And he'll be meeting up against Owe most of the time today, though we are going to switch around our edge rushers, just rotating them depending on base package versus nickel. As for the interior here, Brady Christensen does leave us and goes to the Jets, so we'll face him immediately. As for the center, 77 overall Joe Tittman, a developing middle here, as they also have Vera Tucker. Not so much developing, already pretty solid at an 82, and another 82 in another former offensive lineman of ours in Taylor Moton. So they took 2 of the 3 guys we moved on from. As for their defensive line, Franklin Myers, an 83. Plus, they do have McDonald IV, a 77. At the right side, Bryce Huff, 79, as well as Jermaine Johnson II, also, that's 79. Down the middle, Quinnen Williams. We've struggled, but we've added a lot of guys to the middle, most of our offensive line. So we'll see how much of an impact they bring. Their linebackers, Victor Dimukechi, probably butchered that. He's a 73. Linebackers, Jerome Baker, an 82, with Roger Wilkins, a second-year 76, as well as Trenton Simpson, who's also a 76. Over on the right-hand side, they do have Quincy Williams, an 83, and a rookie in Ben Duarte, someone we could have went after. We went in a different direction. Their cornerbacks start with Sauce Gardner, then DJ Reed Jr., a really good 1-2, and Bryce Hall, a pretty good 3. Safety, Jordan Whitehead, an 82, and Julian Love, an 80. So all in all, this is a, for the most part, very well-built Jets team, and it's not going to be a walk in the park. But we've done a lot of work in rebuilding this Panthers team, and very few of the original starters are still starters. We moved on from pretty much every single starting offensive lineman except Ekwonu. All the other guys, they're all new. Willis joins us his first year here with us. We just drafted Clifton. David Andrews coming in, another first-year guy with us, as well as Walker Little. So really an entirely new offensive line, because even Ekwonu switches from left to right tackle. Hayden Hurst still here. Chenault still sticking in as one of the primary outside receivers, though we've also brought in Bateman. Mingo drops to wide receiver 3, but that should be a really good 1-2-3 with plenty of depth behind. Chuba Hubbard obviously coming off the 2K plus season, plus also setting the record for most receiving yards by a running back in the history of the NFL. Young has developed well. We have another new young tight end slash fullback in Callaway, very similarly to what Jordan Thomas did for us last year. The defense also saw a good bit of overhauling. Pretty much Outside of Stockton, the only continuing starting linebacker. Everyone else is new until Hodgins comes back. He would be the only other linebacker we had last year who'd be in the starting rotation, but Hartwell will be back before him. Owe on the right, but also will move a little bit to the left. The other rookie in McCullough, plus the defensive line has another rookie in Castaneda, plus Stewart and Jordan. Stewart played a little bit for us last year, but not the full season. We have starting new corners on the outside, St. Just and Newsome. Cash stays in the slot, and we will stick with Gardner Johnson and Sidney Brown for safeties. However, if Brown does not step it up, we have plenty of guys we could shift in, move some things around, and he will head to the bench. So let's test out week 1 against actually pretty well-built New York Jets. Let's get season 3 underway. With the boot through, we have our guy back in Johnson, a new punt/kick returner for us. And it starts off with a fairly decent one, though. We only start up at the 26 for Bryce Young and a very overhauled offense to head out. We saw plenty of good things from this team last year. Now we just need to see him put it all together with a whole new offensive line. As Chuba Hubbard starts us off, he picks up a gain of 5 before being dragged down from behind by Baker. But outside of a lot of player movement, we are pretty much sticking with the same offense. Some short, quick throws as we need one here, but still no time to throw. And Bryce Young shaken up on the second play. Could not have asked for any worse start there, except for a pick 6. Dugan steps out there, and we're going to get this one straight over to Hubbard, who gets clocked. And yeah, not a good start. Hopefully we'll get an update soon on our quarterback, but we've got a punt. With that, the first time this season, the Jets offense heads out. They'll start with a bunch to the left-hand side. One to the right is a 23. However, looks more like a receiver rather than a running back. Great stop, though, from Stockton on Hall. As we talked about with Stockton, defensive rookie of the year. Now we need to see how he could handle himself. How is that not a pick for St. Just? Wilson literally threw that one right at him. They get away with one there, leaves 3rd and 11. But yeah, we need to see if Stockton can rise it from just a defensive rookie of the year to just all-around great defensive player. As they dump this one off to their tight end, it's a tackle by St. Just. And just as we were 3 and out, so will be the Jets. But as our offense comes out, it is Bryce Young back at quarterback. He's fighting through a hand injury, and the hope is that's not going to affect his throwing all too much. It was a dislocated finger, but like I said, we'll see if it affects his throws, as it looks like he will be throwing here, actually trying to scramble out by some time, and he just throws it away. He gets dropped late, but no flag coming in. That's been a consistent thing for Young throughout the series, and still yet he has not gotten any of those calls. It's already another 3rd down as we're in motion. Got our tight end opening up. We get it to Likely, who does pick up the 1st down up to the 36. Now he did have a good camp, so he's back at tight end 2. We'll see if he can hold on to it this time. As we go back to Hubbard, trying to find some space. The ball actually pops out. However, I believe he got back on it. Right now, not a whole lot of space opening up with this Jets defense. It is a really good box, so we got to just work around it. Let's get the halfback screen out. It's a booming block from Clifton. Already the rookie making some plays. And with 3rd and 2, we got to hope we can see another rookie making a play as we bring out Barry. His first NFL carry. Cut back to the left-hand side. He will pick up the 1st down, keeping the legs moving. Picks up an extra yard or so. We're at the 48. Now, despite Ty Barlow making his return, Barry is getting the number 2 running back spot in all different categories. Primary, as Hayden Hurst might have the sideline. No, it's tipped away. Good throw there from Young. But as we were saying, as Barry heads off the field, yeah, he's going to be the primary backup just across the board. Though hopefully it's mostly going to be Hubbard as it opens up down the middle. This time it's a nice gain of around 15. We obviously don't want to move him away from the receiving yards like he had last year, but some more traditional running I think would also go a long way as we stay spread. Got a couple deep shots with some other guys sit underneath. It's Chenault over the top, and he does not bring it in. That placement was beautiful from Young. Unfortunately, Chenault just not able to secure the catch. As we go back to the screen pass, have a couple blockers out in front. Hubbard not able to get by the first defender. Great open field tackle. Though he does make it a more manageable third down here for us. 3rd and 4 as we come out with the heavier set. Gonna have some more crossing patterns. Just need someone to open up. As we go for Thomas, he does get the catch, dragging just in time. So far, that hand injury not affecting Young. The ball placement has been spectacular as we have Hayden Hurst and not into the end zone. Just a hairline short. I don't know how you don't give it to him, but they don't, and now it's goal line versus goal line. Chuba Hubbard, the running back. Quinnen Williams blowing it up. Need more there from David Andrews. So we'll go to our shotgun goal line set instead, and maybe we just need to force a double team here on Quinnen Williams as he is in his X factor. Got some out routes and some quick stops at Chenault, and it's just timed beautifully. First touchdown of season 3 goes to Laviska Shenault Jr. And that's the kind of drives I want to see every time from our offense. What about our defense, though, as they're out for their next time? They did do really well the first time out. Will we see that continue? And, well, no, because St. Just overran the route. It's just a quick little stop from Wilson and a big gain to the opposite 40. That's the kind of play we were used to with Horn. Need to see improvement there. Not just giving up cheap, easy things as they find their tight end. Need the head on the swivel there from Stockton. It is the rookie in Summers. And he will send us inside the break, sending us to the second quarter. 7-0, a tight battle here today. But it's one that we definitely can find ourselves victorious. Plus, we're going up against 2 former offensive linemen, and we know that they're not great against the blitz. So let's try to utilize that a little bit more here in this second quarter. Plus, on top of that, if we could see a little bit more here from some of our defensive linemen, that would be great. We have 2 rookies down there. We'd love to see them make some plays, as they will not find Summers this time. It's an overthrow as McCullough was in coverage. But on 3rd and 7, we could get off the field here. We'll send out the field goal unit at least. As it goes some slants across the middle, it is knocked away by Stockton. Good coverage there, sitting in zone. Not something we typically run, but he gets the better of the veteran as they send out their kicking unit. This will be about a 42-yarder, and it's going right down the middle. That one will be good from distance. And as our offense retakes the field, still with that lead, a great opportunity to try to grow it. As we start with Chuba Hubbard not getting to the outside there. Need a little bit better on the blocking, but a great play from Johnson. That one was looking like it was going to be the big gain, but just that block shed at the perfect time as we go the play action off of it. We had our guy further downfield, but we dumped this one instead. Hayden Hurst will pick up maybe 1. I'll end up leaving us with a 3rd and 9, which we got 1 to the left-hand side, 2 to the right. Hubbard going to that corner route, which worked pretty well for us last year. It's open again. We're going to find him for another big gain. He hits the brakes, though not going to squeak by the defender. Good job to slow down, match the speed, but either way, we're down to the 22. Already feeling like Chuba Hubbard picking up right where we left off, though I would love to find Hayden Hurst here, depending on what that outside corner and safety do. That's the primary read, and they cover it pretty well. So let's get this one down to Hubbard. We'll get the catch, not much more after. Franklin Meyer does well there to quickly claps on and leaves 2nd and 6. We got an RPO dialed up here, and we will go with the handoff. Chuba Hubbard with a lead block in Clifton, down to the 8. And after 3 straight plays, Hubbard heads to the sideline. Barry back out for the big boy set. Patient running. He finds some space, but not points. Down to about the half-yard line. But we'll keep him out there for 1 more attempt here. Definitely want to make sure we get the double team on Williams. Do not let him blow this one up. We don't get the double team. Barry's fighting forward, but really doesn't gain or lose anything. So we go back to a very similar look to actually the same look that we scored our previous touchdown on. It will be a throw, though not the same play. As we get it out to Likely, he will just get by the edge. It's another touchdown right on the goal line. This one going to tight end 2. And that will put us up 14-3 as the Jets head out for their next drive. Improved their last time out. As they finally go to Hall here, it's not a great tackle attempt there from Cash. He slowed him down, limiting it to just a gain of 10. And that'll go as his actual first carry, though I do believe he had a reception earlier. If I'm not confusing him with someone else, which I don't believe I am, Stewart with a little bit of some pass rush, and Brown knocks it out. We have definitely, seemingly at least, improved on those knockouts this offseason. We only had really one game last year that we saw us consistently do it. That ball, though, placed well, and it will be a first down for Wilson. That Wilson to Wilson connection. And if we're being honest, a pretty impressive throw considering it was crossbody, getting it to the outside away from defenders too. All around textbook as Stockton meets Hall in the backfield. Stockton is the real deal. It's not often that in just 2 drafts you fill out every linebacker spot you would need for your future. But we've done that here as we will head inside the 2-minute warning. Now both teams do have all of their timeouts, however the Jets with possession. As it's 2nd and 13, they go with the screen. Oliver, the UDFA, not able to fight through the blocks, and Hall picks up the first, getting him into the plus territory. Now obviously we already know the top 2 other linebackers other than Stockton. We don't know much about the UDFA. Hopefully he has... Come on, you can't throw that flag. Just a well-timed play there from our new corner. And instead it's a first down. Man, gotta hate that. Not much of a pass rush yet as Stockton nearly ripped that one away from Hall. You know, I don't think I've set all the captains properly on this team. I need to go through and redo that, but Stockton for sure is one of the captains of this team. To the outside, Cash, you gotta get your hands up, bud. You know, he had a really impressive middle of the season last year. Towards the tail end, he did tail off a little bit. We need him to resurrect as we have some pass rush getting back there. Forces the throw away. 4th and 7 at the 26. Do they send out the field goal unit? Oh, Wilson heads off the field, so indeed they will. Having to settle for 2 field goals in this first half, and they will hit on both. However, they do leave us with about a minute and a half, all of our timeouts, and historically, Steve Smith Sr. has called some really good 2-minute offenses. We'll see if that continues here today as we go right back out to Chuba Hubbard, who gets the catch. Does he get out of bounds? No, clock will continue to roll. So we got to get back and ready to go. Single high safety. Haven't seen much from Bateman, the new addition at receiver, yet. However, Laviska Shenault had a step. Ball a little bit too far out in front. Now outside of a couple throws today, for the most part, Young has been really accurate, really well placing the ball. Just that one got away from him. However, Jennings got a good step, but a great job from the DB. Maybe if that route is a little bit sharper, we get something on that. 3rd and 10 either way as we go to the halfback screen, get some blockers out in front as we have to cut back towards the middle. Hubbard bouncing off, trying to find his footing. He keeps those legs moving. It is 4th and 2. We call a timeout there at the 48. And the offense will stay out here. We got 49 seconds left, and we don't have to worry about Williams on this play. They still have some good guys up front. We'll hand this one off, though, for Chuba, who gets some blocks downfield. We'll get by the diving defender. Juke back in. Not going to get by the second. Let's get right back to the line quickly here. Going to build off of that momentum. Catching them a little bit off guard. Shenault to the back pylon, depending on what Gardner does, who does drop. We'll dump this one off for Hurst with the catch. Getting picked up, slammed down. Second timeout called. 16 seconds left. As we head back out. They're not quite playing off coverage, but not quite press. Can Hayden Hurst get to that back corner? Well, that ball somehow comes about 30 yards underthrown, and this could be a pick six if the receivers don't catch up. Bateman in pursuit, dives, comes up empty, and the Jets hit big as the ball just floated to Bryce Hall as if it was a gift, and that it was. Once again, it was Quinnen Williams beating the block, ball lofted. We've needed more from these right guards, and right now it's Little getting the opportunity, and he just hasn't quite had it against one of the top DTs in the league. That is how we head into half, essentially making this second half a whole new ball game, as it's just a 1-point game rather than what very well should have been a multi-score lead. Those kind of turnovers has cost us a lot, specifically last season. We need to make sure we minimize those. Credit just the Jets a little bit lucky. As we take a look around the league, Buccaneers, they're not off to a great start in the fact that they're down right now, 14-7 to the Jaguars. As for the Dolphins, they're playing against the Eagles here, and it is the Eagles on top, 21-7, as Hurts has 2 first-half touchdowns, and Tua less than 50% completion in that first half. Meanwhile, the Falcons, they're hosting the Colts, and the Colts are on top. Not a whole lot happening for either of those quarterbacks, but for us, it's a good sign that the Falcons are losing. And as we get our own second half underway, this is a prime opportunity for the Jets to take their first lead today, really flipping the game on its head from essentially the last 2 plays of this entire game. Though we do have ourselves a pretty good defensive cast here to try to not let that happen. As it's 2nd and 3, they go with us a little bit of some read option. It opens up here for Wilson, and he will pick up the first down before CJ Gardner-Johnson meets him. Now, the one thing we haven't seen really anything yet in terms of at least hitting home, as we do well to get into the backfield. However, the tackling not clean enough. Should have been a tackle for a loss of 1 or 2. Instead, it's a gain of 9. But that does kind of lead me into what I was talking about. We need more from this defensive line yet again. Haven't seen any big plays made yet. We've seen a little bit of some pass rush. None have hit home. As we send the blitz, it's over the top of McCullough, who dives, misses. Gardner-Johnson dives and misses, and Hall does give them their first lead of the day. But the 19-14 lead, 6-point lead, is not going to be enough for them. They're going for 2. And they hand off right down the middle. They're not going to hit home that time. We'll at least limit their lead to 5. We've got to do a little bit of some course correcting here, as we've let one guy really dictate our game, and that is Quinnen Williams. So let's try to limit his effect for the remainder of this one as we get it out to Thomas, who could head around the edge. He has a couple blocks downfield, though. Doesn't have quite that top-end speed, but it's a big play to start us off. And on top of it, a little bit of some chippiness there on the sideline. As we stick with the same look following, a little bit of some play action. Try to get to the outside. Here comes Williams, a throwaway. We'll keep it clean. And after a couple passing plays, let's go with our first run here of this half, as Hubbard will find a little bit of some space, picking up 3. Now that does still make it a 3rd and medium long-ish here, as we stick with a tight shotgun look. Got some crossing routes, 1 stop. Hubbard going on the wheel. Bateman just headed straight downfield as they go straight to Hubbard. It's in and out of his hands. Looked like a panic throw there from Young. And surprisingly, the offense staying out there, just shy of midfield. Seems a little bit risky. Hard count, no one jumps. Another hard count, no one jumps. And this time they snap it as they go to Likely, who gets the catch, but he's dropped quickly by Hall, who sparked the Jets' comeback, and he's keeping it alive. We were close to getting that conversion, though. Needed an extra 1.5 yards, maybe 2. Now the Jets take over in a very similar position where we just were, swinging out to Hall, who will not get by the UDFA linebacker in Oliver. That one a very solid open field tackle, leaves 2nd and 8 as they go back to Hall, trying to find the edge, spins off of one tackler, nearly gets by the rest of the defense. We drop him with the last hit. And that'll bring up a 3rd and 1. And the Jets, they don't like how we lined up, so they're going to change things up. They got trips to the left, one to the right. We send a blitz. They block it all up, but it goes straight to Sidney Brown. I don't even think he realized that was thrown at him. It was like the CFL player that just caught the ball in his arm for the touchdown while he was running his route. That is what that looked like. But hey, we've needed some luck. We get some luck there, and the offense can head back out. Now with their chance to take a lead once again, as Hubbard bouncing around a little bit, we'll pick up 5. And on 2nd and 5, we're going to see him walk down the safety to the left-hand side, where we got a couple options going that way, plus we're flooding that side of the field. Once again, it's out to Hubbard, who looks for the spin, but he gets dropped. However, there is an injury for the Jets. It's Jordan Whitehead. So as he heads off the field, his teammates have a chance to get off the field themselves. It's 3rd and 8. We got 3 to the right, 1 to the left. Little zig here from Chenault, though they're covering that one pretty well. And Young getting dropped on a major sack. It's Johnson. 4th and 23. Yeah, this one's definitely a punt. So it's neither team able to do anything off the turnovers. And the Jets come out, they start back at their 26. They got 2 to the right, 1 to the left. Will be a throw to their tight end, and Stockton literally used his head to break that one up. And honestly, I will take that any way, anyhow you make the play. Good on me. 2nd and 10 will be another throw. Quick throw. That one easily swatted by St. Jude. They can't flag that one. And that'll leave us with yet another opportunity to get off the field, though they spread empty. Definitely expecting a throw then, as they don't really send everyone deep. Pass rush, it's Owe getting the sack, the signee, the top target of ours in the offseason. He hits home week 1. What was a very offensive battle for a little while, turning very defensive. Hopefully we could swing momentum here. As we look for the screen, we get no blocking. It's a loss of 3, so still looks defensive. We've just got to find a way to break through. The defensive line here looking dominant for the Jets. As we expected, they very well could be. As we do have Chuba Hubbard, it's going to need to be a sideline grab. Focus too much on the feet there and not the hands. Or actually, they're going to credit that as a catch. I definitely saw the ball on the ground, but let's snap the ball before they go into a review. I don't care if it's not much of a gain. We'll take the conversion. Just a little bit of luck and some shady refereeing. Once again, it's 2nd and 8. We got Hayden Hurst going right down the seam, though that's going to be covered pretty well. Coming across the middle, the throw is awkward, but it finds Bateman, his first catch here with us. Now, obviously we haven't seen much from him today, but it's a really good defensive back group that we're going up against here today. So not going to put too much weight on this one, as I think Young got confused on the route. It was a stop, not coming across, and he threw it straight to Baker. Well, there goes the momentum. I mean, the only thing that makes sense there is that he did believe that that was not a stop route. Either way, Jets have the ball as they go downfield. St. Juice nearly takes it back. And that's the kind of play we definitely could have used. 2nd and 10. We got 10 seconds left here in the 3rd. Maybe just one play left as they go with the run. It's a good stop, and it will be 3rd and 9 to start the 4th quarter. We saw a lot of scoring in that first half. Not much there in the 3rd. But it's all going to come down to this 4th quarter to really set the game, as it's open across the middle and Hall holds on. Stockton not able to come off of his man coverage to make the play. And that's one the Jets definitely needed to try to maintain their lead here. Only a 5-point lead as they go to Hall. Quick stop from the linebackers. And you know, we talked prior to this game, due to the fact we're missing 2 of our 3 main linebackers, that we were hoping everyone else would step up around them, but really the linebackers, they're primarily holding their own. As we say that, Sidney Brown, what kind of tackling was that? Luckily, we got Newsome there to get the stop. Hall almost made it a 2-score lead. But that's really been where they've found success with Hall today. Not a lot of consistency, just a couple big pop plays. As it's 1st and 10 in plus territory, they're trying to find somewhere to go. They do find Summers, the rookie tight end, for another grab. They've really gone his way often in this one. Leaves him with 2nd and 8, though. Short gain. Back to Hall. Not getting by Oliver. Gardner-Johnson cleans it up, and Hall is a little bit shaken up on the play. Now, we already saw earlier their kicker has got a strong leg. They sit at the 38 here for 3rd and 9. A sack would do great in terms of getting him out of field goal range, and they're going to get us on another bogus DPI call here. That is 2 perfectly timed hits in on the receiver, going for the ball. And it's been 2 first downs freely given. As they try to get to the outside there, that's the first tackle for Castaneda. But we could really use with a turnover here, as they'll continue to throw it through the hands of the intended target. Once again, we have a 3rd and 9. Already, the 3rd one of these on this drive. Last time was the free penalty. And they're doing it again. That ball wasn't even catchable. Some absolute away cooking here happening. NFL, get out of our game. It's now 1st and 10. As they go with a run, Gainwell will gain well as he's headed towards the end zone and in. How many times did the Jets have to get bailed out for that one to get in? Well, the pressure is now on. Having to play against the Jets and the refs, we find ourselves down 12 points here. Trying to go with the halfback screen. We do get it out. Need some blocking. We'll get a little bit there. Gain of 6, but we got to get right back to it. We are down multiple possessions here, under 5 minutes. We got Hurst going across the middle, couple deeper options, and it's going to be Hurst right down the seam, but the throw is off. We really can't afford too many more of those, Young. Got to dial it in here. It's crunch time, to say the least. As we have our guy coming across, that time it's on the money for Likely, who gets out of bounds. However, Walker Little shaken up on the play. Well, it's a good thing we have some depth for our offensive line, some pretty decent depth at that. Hopefully it's not too big of an injury and he'll come back later on. But coming across, Young, what are you doing? Could not ask for a more wide open throw. Chenault had no one within 10 yards of him. 2nd and 10, we stick with the same play, though just flipping it. As we come across, well, we got Hayden Hurst. Well, he could throw on the run with a nice sidearm. Leaves us short of the 1st down mark, as we'll just get right back to it. Needing to pick up just about a yard and a half, as Hubbard will find that and a little bit more. We get right back on into it. Now they do bring down the safety to the right-hand side. Single high, though covering it pretty well, and the ball pops free. Mitchell, want to try to get the ball next time, dude? You kicked it, and it's going to be recovered by the Jets. Well, this team has just fallen apart in the second half, and the refs, they're definitely not helping. Essentially caused us to give up as they get it out to Gainwell, who shuts off CJ. Bounced out after a gain of 7. Well, right now, hard to say this is a well-earned win if that would be the case for the Jets. It's definitely not an earned win for us outside of Stockton continually making some plays. He needs some help on that one, though. And on 3rd and 5, our most doomed scenario so far. It will be a throw. And they roll downfield. It's St. Just, who does not get the pick. He had it for about 3 yards, and I think his knee bopped it out. Either way, it keeps it from being points, but we are down 12, about to be down 15. Would make it 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions for the win. However, that one goes wide, so we don't end up costing ourselves off the fumble. Is that a sign of some late-game comeback? If that were to be the case, we need to see this offense put on a show here. We start with 2 to the left, Mingo over to the right-hand side, Hubbard going out on a route. They bring a blitz. We get this one out to Hubbard, who we could get him on the run, and he's down and out of bounds inside the red zone. I think that's just the thing here. We've got to get Young on the move. That's the only way he throws an accurate ball. Chenault to the back pylon is the main option here, though they're covering it pretty well, so Young will scramble, get out of bounds. That's a late hit. You got to call that little bump there. I mean, especially if you're calling a lot of the ones that we've been called on today for doing basically nothing wrong. Either way, it's 2nd and 7. As we need somewhere to go. Well, Young just going to step up and take a couple hits there. He should have got down. Instead, it's a 1st and goal. A little bit of a read option or RPO dialed up here. Mingo on a deeper slant. We could swing it out or just hand it off to Hubbard, who tried to find the cutback lane. None there. Try to get back for at least one more play here before the 2-minute warning. If we're lucky, we'll have 2 plays before the 2-minute warning. We just needed to open up as we have our guy, but he just didn't keep his head up. Ball placement not perfect either. Now that leaves us with a 3rd and goal. And I'm going to make a change on the outside. I want that to be a stop route from Bateman, though they drop back pretty good in coverage. And there's really nowhere to go. Throw out of the sack. We are down 12. We have to go for it here. If we don't get this one, the hopes will be very small for us to make anything happen even later on. 2:07 on the clock, 4th and goal at the 9. Hard count, no one jumps, no free play as we have Jennings, but it's just not placed well. Swatted away by Sauce Gardner, and it's a turnover on downs, 2:02 on the clock. Well, defense, what do you got here for us? Need a big play. As they hand it off, Gainwell had an open gap for a second. Quick tackle, 2-minute warning, and we need some plays for sure. I imagine they go with one more run here, then maybe a play action on 3rd. It's if we get the stop, and they do go back to Gainwell, who's not going to gain well there. First timeout called. We got 2 more remaining. We're down 2 scores. But really, the big play is right here. 3rd and 8. As they go fullback dive, and they will actually maybe lose a yard. Either way, 4th and 8, it will be a punt. And with what started as a good game from Young, definitely has turned into not a very good game from Young, as we've got to find something here. Why not go out to Chuba Hubbard with a big hit? He holds on to it. And once again, we've got to get right back to it. Under a minute and a half now. We need 2 scores, including, or actually no, we're only down to 12. Either way, he launches it straight at the safety. It's off the back of his head, but it's going to be thrown past the line of scrimmage anyway. We're honestly just very lucky the safety didn't just turn around and pick that one off. 2nd and 15, we go with an empty set. They bring a blitz. We get it out. It's Bateman who's going to get close to the first down, though he does not get it. It is 3rd and 1. We need the first down, but we also need some touchdowns. As Bateman has the step, that ball placed well. And is he out of bounds? No. Would have liked to know that sooner, so I could have called a timeout there. Either way, we got to get right back to it here. Need the touchdown as it's into Mingo. We could always count on him late. That pulls us close. We have a timeout remaining, but we need an onside. And the likelihood of getting these are never positive, but you never quite know. Ford, it's short, it's picked up by Yanovich, and that will do it. The Jets get bailed out multiple times on that key possession, but you still have to look internally. We should have just walked away with that game after the first half we had, but throwing that pick 6 right before half, it was definitely the turning point. And then after that, Young struggled, then put together a great last drive. If only we were able to find that any of our number times before that. But the boys let themselves get flustered in this one, and that's what costed us in the long run. Again, there was a lot of positivity in this game. But when the Jets, started to get some scores, we had a couple mistakes. And then when we just kept getting hounded on by the refs for no real penalty whatsoever, yet not getting any calls ourselves, the guys didn't know what to do, and we clearly saw that take shape. And the offensive line struggled against a very dominant pass rush for sure, but let's focus on a little bit of some of the positives. In the first half, and a little bit there towards the end, Bryce Young, he was looking really good. He was putting the ball where it needed to be. Unfortunately, there was a couple bad turnovers mixed in there, not all of which were entirely his fault. And yeah, I'll be honest, on that one interception thrown straight to Baker, I was thinking that Mingo was coming across and that was about to open up for a wide open touchdown. Hit the button, and as soon as I did, I saw him stop and it clicked, and I was like, well, that's just throwing away a drive that was looking promising. Ended up fitting in pretty well with a few of those drives, but overall, he did well. He fought through injury, getting injured on the second play of the game. But still, we need a little bit more from him. As for the running game, it was pretty solid. Chuba Hubbard, 13 attempts, 75 yards. He averaged 5.8 yards a rush. He did have the one fumble, though he recovered it. And Young, he's got to do better at protecting the ball while in the pocket. Obviously, the offensive line, we're going to give up some pass rush, but still, we've got to limit the turnovers. That is what tore the team apart last year. We need to correct that moving forward. Receiving game, it's still Chuba Hubbard. He had, 250 or so yards in this game in total. A great start for him. Needed to see a little bit more from some of the other guys. Rashad Bateman really didn't have a great game, nor really did any of the other targets. Again, it was a really good defensive back group, so I'm not going to harp on it too much. We'll see if that continues on. And they only credit one sack here. We obviously know that that isn't really what it looked like. And round of applause, though, for Jermaine Oliver, a UDFA we picked up not that long ago. He led the team, led the whole game actually in tackles, so good on him. Let's take a look just at our own stats from this one. Stockton had 6 tackles. He was flying around. He was involved at every single level. Really like to see that. Oliver also led us in tackles for a loss, though tied though with Stockton and Owe. Gardner Johnson also had one. We just need more sacks. We got back there a little bit more today, but need that more consistently. One turnover, Sidney Brown, he was just sitting in the right place, right time. We also dropped a couple. Kicking, not really much to talk about. We only really had the extra points, but that was a winnable game that we let slip away. But next time, we take on the Buccaneers. So we'll open up divisional play next time. So do not miss out. That'll be out tomorrow for Friday's episode. Again, this series every single Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Plus, we have the states only challenge. Currently, the Central States, Arkansas, Missouri, and Nebraska. That one every Wednesday, Saturday. So you guys got 6 videos every single week. Hopefully we have a good bounce back in that game. Do not miss it. Hit the bell icon down below if you have not already, or scroll down and hit the sub button so you do not miss out. And if you tap the bell icon, it'll notify you when these videos go live. And we will be getting back our rookie linebacker in Britton Hartwell for this game. Oliver played great, but we're going to see how well he does in his debut until we get back Hodgins. But all in all, there was a lot of positivity from this game. We've just got to stick on it. But it showed that we could very much hang with some of the top teams in this league, which is great. Coming off of a offseason that saw a lot of overhaul, still need some of those guys to step up, see some big plays, but we've got a long season ahead of us. Hope you guys are enjoying and hope you guys continue to enjoy. And let me know down below, who do you think is going to have the best year this year? As we will see you guys next time to face the Buccaneers.